Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back for another video. This is a special message. The Lord has really been dealing with me to speak about some things that are very near and dear to apparently His heart, because He's been really dealing with me about it. And it's for women. It's for us women. He's really been dealing with me about the woman's tongue. This may be a message that may rub some women the wrong way. Keep in mind, I'm a woman. I am a woman too. But the Lord has really been dealing with me to talk about this. And so I'm going to share a few things with you. My pastor at my church, I'm going to have a link to the video. There are 2 videos. He has been on a series for a long time. And the past couple of weeks, he has been talking about words and how important our words are and how we should be very careful with our mouths. He has been very careful not to point anybody out, because men and women do it. We're both can really flip off at the mouth, and we can vent and we can complain, and we all do that. Every human being does that. I mean, every human being, we complain. So he's been keeping it in the middle of the road when it comes to complaining, but he uses the word venting. And I want to talk about this because it's something that I know that we do. It's something that women do, I think, more than men. Men do it to a certain degree, but I believe that us women do it a whole lot more. It's going to be that way because us women, we are typically more verbal. We use more words than men. I mean, if you are a woman watching this, or if you are a man watching this, I'm sure you can agree that most of the time women talk more than men. Us women, we do. We vent a lot. And many times women, we have a tendency to want to talk about what's on our minds all the time. And our minds are always going. Our minds are always running. And I believe that God wired us that way because we are, typically the nurturers in the family. We are typically the ones that are taking care of the children, taking care of the day-to-day operations of a household. That's pretty much how it typically is. Now, there's always an exception to the rule. There are always exceptions to the rule. But typically, most of the time, women are the ones that are organizing, and they have a lot on their minds. So there's a lot of things that they feel like they need to talk about. There's a lot of things that the way women process things are different than the way men do. And women have a tendency to process by our mouths. We have a tendency to process our thoughts, our feelings, and everything that is on our hearts with our mouths. And so I'm going to have the links, like I said, they're in the description box of the messages that I believe that my pastor is presenting is very, very needed at this time. I think that words are being misused, they are being mishandled, and they have always been that way. But when you add the internet, when you add social media to it, then it's words that are in black and white, red and white, on paper, on the screen. Words are used to attack people in a major, major way, more so now than ever. And it's because of media, because of social media more so. This is my thoughts. Nowadays, everybody's got a phone in their hand. Many people are on all types of social media platforms, and they are using words as weapons. Well, what I'm going to talk about briefly in this video is how women, we have a tendency oftentimes to not just vent our feelings, but it's the way that we vent them. We're not really, according to the way that my pastor has been teaching, man, he's been bringing out some scriptures that it's like, wow. And I'm going to share this passage with you. He's been dealing with Matthew 12, the one that really stands out the most to me is because it deals with Judgment Day. And he has been going to Matthew 12, verses 36 and 37. Now, being the way that I am, I had to take it a little step further up because I like to look at the whole passage. We can many times draw a whole sermon off of one script and one scripture. And he's been doing that and using various other scripts to go with it to support the fact that we do need to watch our mouths, that we do need to hold our tongue, and that God is not pleased with that. Our words can carry us and will carry us to the day we die, all the way up to the time when we are facing our Lord and Savior and we are being judged. And the thing is that he has reminded us, and I'm going to share with you, that it's not just what we do in terms of how we're going to be judged on the last day, but we're also going to be judged by the words that we speak. Now, I'm going to take it and I'm going to actually just put it, I'm going to go over Matthew 12, 36 and 37 with you and read that to you. But the whole passage that I really want you to go back and read is in the description box. It's Matthew 12, verses 31 through 37. In the messages that we've been going over at my church, we were talking about the Israelites and how the Israelites were complaining, they were griping, they were grumbling, they were venting their feelings about everything related to how things were done, how Moses did things, how he didn't do things, how they didn't have what they wanted as they were going out of slavery into the promised land. They were griping and grumbling the entire way. And they really were showing ungratefulness to God and what he had done. They were griping and complaining the whole time. It's like, my goodness, this man didn't have to do what he did. My goodness, God did not have to come down. He didn't have to do all that he did through Moses to free them, but they still griping and complaining. How many of us do that? We often do. And I dare say, again, women, we're really bad about this. We're really bad about it. Men do it too. But we have a tendency to go on and on and on and on. Not every woman, but women in general. Most women have a tendency to go on and on and on and on. And it comes back to bite us. These words come back to bite us now, but they can also and will come back to bite us on the day of judgment. Let me read it. Matthew, the 12th chapter, verses 36 and 37. This is what it says. But I say to you, this is Jesus talking, that for every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. This is very serious. I'm reading from the New King James Version. It says idle. Let me tell you what idle means. Idleness, the root is idle, but idle means it's unproductive. It's just, words are not, it's lazy. Idleness is lazy. Let me read what it says. Laziness or unproductiveness. This is what idleness means. As work is hallowed by God's working, idleness is regarded as a sin against oneself and society. Idleness. This video is going to be a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. I'm trying to wind it down now, but there's so much to be said here. Idleness, laziness. And what I'm going to, this is going to have to be more parts to this because it's just too much. But idleness is here talking about an idle word, meaning lazy tongue, lazy speaking, loose lips, I've heard people say. Our senior pastor mentions that, loose lips. Us women, we can be very loosey-lippy, when we are stressed, when we are feeling pressured, pressed, when there's a lot on our minds, a lot on our plates, and we don't know what else to do. We have a tendency to talk. And it's our way of, we're thinking, talking it through. but it's really not talking it through when you think about it. It's actually talking us to a point of anger, more frustration. Have you ever paid attention to that? If you talk about a thing and talk about a thing and keep talking about it, what usually happens to you? Now, some may say, well, I feel better, but I want to ask you, do you really? And also the question becomes, are you trying to get to a resolution of what's bothering you? To do that, then somebody has to be quiet for a while to be able to listen to potential solutions. I've heard women say it. I don't want you to solve it for me. I want you to just listen to me. But men aren't wired to just, some of them, every man is different. Every woman is different. Hear me. I'm just speaking, generally speaking, women have a tendency to vent more about what's going on in their minds and all of this stuff. And then they have a tendency, if they don't feel heard, then they start venting about not feeling heard. And then they're talking more and more and more. And by that frustration, the more frustration that you feel, you're going to have a tendency to be a loose lip. You're going to say something that you probably shouldn't say. You're going to wind up constantly talking, that you're going to drive people away, and especially a man. It could be your daddy, it could be your brother, it could be your husband, it could be your boyfriend. Men are different in the way that they process problems, and a lot of words just ain't it. They work to find a solution. They always say men are more logical. Well, I typically like to hear it said like this more so than men are more logical, because women are logical too. We're logical. The thing is, we go about handling and processing what's on our minds differently. What it is, men, I think, have a tendency to say that men are more logical is because in their minds, they think that it is more logical to not talk about it so much. It is logical to come to a solution. And to come to a solution, you don't have to say a lot of words. Just speak the facts and let's deal with the facts. So in their minds, that is more logical to do. And they find that it is illogical to go round and round and keep talking. So that's why I think that they will say, now, if you're a man, I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to have a conversation in the comments about this. Men will say that they are more logical because they think that it is illogical to go on, and they think that it is illogical to have so much emotion in the words and in the way that a woman speaks as they're talking about a problem. To a man, it's like, well, let's deal with the problem. Why do you keep talking and saying the same thing over and over again? That is illogical. A woman, now understand, again, it's very general terms here. A woman will say, well, I just need to get it out. And a man is like, well, do you want to solve the problem or don't you? So, and it's like you keep venting and you keep venting and you keep talking about what you're feeling. Okay, let me help you feel better. It's illogical to a man to say, well, why are you going to continue to go on and on about your feelings? Let me help you feel better by helping you fix the problem. But to a lot of women, they'll say, well, I just want you to hear me. Because really, I don't see that there is a fix to what I'm talking about. The fix for me right now is for just you to listen to me. That's all I want you to do. So that is logical to the woman. So that is why many times you've got this back and forth and this miscommunication and this communication problems between men and women. Now, that is my feeling and that is my summary of it in terms of the venting. But again, hear me, women. If we are always going to if we're going to talk, And we vent. And we think that this makes us feel better. Think about that. Does it really? And think about this. Do you want to keep talking about the same thing over and over and over again? Perhaps you might need to do something different. Maybe not talk as much. Maybe don't talk and vent so much to the person that you want them to be something that they're not. Not everybody is wired and able to constantly hear that. It's draining, and it's something that God doesn't even like to hear. He even told us, when you pray, you don't have to say a lot of words. You don't have to go on and on and on. However, God, my friend, and this is what my pastor has been saying, we need to cast all our cares upon him, because he really is the only one that can handle a lot of words. However, the words that we use, we still need to be very careful with them, because it's like, goodness gracious, you're just coming on and on and on with all of the problems and how you're feeling. Okay, now listen to me. Let me tell you how to fix it. You see, God is a fixer too. God is a fixer, and he is the one that can fix it. It's like, my child, stop talking. Don't vent. It's like, and then it's like, it's a slap in his face. It's like, because sometimes we can be venting and talking about this and that's not right, and he's not right, and she's not right, and this ain't right in my life, and I'm so unhappy, and blah and blah and blah and blah. And God is like, hey, now wait a minute. Now you're complaining. And you're not even, are you grateful for anything that I have done for you? Are you grateful for anything? Am I not God? Do you not think that I can solve your problems? Why are you continuing going round and round and round? You see, the Israelites were doing that. Have I not set you free? Have I not provided for you then? Will I not provide for you now? Hey, now you're being ungrateful. And so then it's like, God is like, okay, because God is like, he will hear you, but then it's like, hear me and obey. So us women, we got to be careful. And then we have a tendency, again, as we talk, then we could run into the risk of saying something that can offend the person that we are venting to. We can offend God too, because it's like, are you not even grateful? Even with another human being, say for instance, in a husband and wife situation, if the woman is constantly vent about what, you don't do this, you don't do that, and you're always doing that, and you're always doing that. And men, if you're doing that to your woman, a special woman in your life or whatever, if it's a woman, it's like, if you are constantly do, and you don't do this and you don't do that, then what you're going to do, you got two people venting to each other. And it's just like hot air going round and round in a room. That hot air eventually is going to get hotter and hotter, and eventually something is going to explode. And we know that the tongue is a vicious little thing. And then you start, the more feelings you're venting, it becomes anger and frustration. And then you start cussing each other out, calling each other's names, calling each other out of each other's names. And then what do you got? You got more heat. You got more problems. You've got more problems. So it's just something that I thought I would just use this channel to go a little deeper in. And like I said, that the links are in the description box to watch those videos of what my pastor is teaching, because I think that it is extremely important. It is an extremely timely message. Our words are getting us more and more in trouble. The more words we speak, and in the way that we're doing it, and go back and look at that. I'll have a link too to the special message about the spirit of anger. That is all tied in. The words that we're speaking, the words there, we're angry all the time, and we're venting anger, we're venting frustrations, we're venting all types of things, and it's creating more and more problems, and it's feeding into that spirit of anger that is growing. Let me do this, because I've said a lot on this video, and I'm trying to hone it in, and I'm fixing to end with these passages right here. And it's Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, wisdom, full of wisdom. Proverbs 29 And actually, I'm going to go to Proverbs 21 first, and I'm going to read verse 19 and verse 23. Because this goes back, this is about the women now, okay? Because us women, again, we are more verbal. We talk, we use more words. Even I get irritated with myself sometimes because it's like, okay, Natalie, that's enough words. Don't overtalk it. I'm trying to wind it in. Proverbs 21, verse 19, better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. Listen, this tongue, the venting and all, it actually also can, the more you talk about it, the more angry you become. And it's like, or you can sound angry. You can sound like you're nagging. You sound like you're complaining because you keep talking and you keep talking. And the more you keep talking, the angrier you get. Hear that passage again. Hear that script. Better to dwell in the wilderness. It's like you wonder how come your man won't come home. You wonder why your man might not be calling you. It could be because he cannot take another round of venting. So better to dwell in the wilderness, the wild world, the world away from the house, than to deal with a contentious and angry woman. And I get it, ladies. Sometimes it's like, but he's not hearing me. Well, go to the Lord. Cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. He can give you the solution. The man might not can. Give him a break. Give all your words to the Lord. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Listen, it works because men can only take so many words. They start to drown you out or ignore. And then that makes you angry. Then you talk more. Something's got to give. Don't run them out to the wilderness. Verse 23, whoever guards his mouth, this is Proverbs 21, verse 23, whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. We got to be mindful of the words that we're speaking. And then the last one is Proverbs 29:11, the one that my pastor has been drilling in our heads. And I think with that, it would be wise for us to memorize it. It says, a fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man, a wise person, holds them back. We got to learn how to hold our tongue, y'all. We got to ask the Lord to help us to hold our tongue. And to whatever it is that is frustrating us and causing us discomfort and all types of frustration, we need to take it to the Lord in prayer. Women, let's learn to do that more. Men, before you speak, because men can be and come across when they speak a little aggressive, perhaps sometimes, and that can fuel and cause an issue. You see, all of this stuff also fuels dissension and discord, and it just continues to fuel that. You see, the enemy is very crafty, and he does not want people to know how to communicate with each other, and he wants us to go straight to hell by the words that we're using. Read this final passage of scripture again, Matthew 12:36 through 37. But I say to you, and this is Jesus talking, that for every idle word men may speak, whatever idle word people may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Y'all, we got to be careful. We are literally talking our way to hell, and we're creating hell in our lives by the words that we're speaking, and we're creating hell in the lives of those that we love. We need to be careful. And us women, we really, really need to take our issues, our frustrations. I get it. We got them. But we need to take them to the Lord, who can do something about them, and who can do something about that man, who can do something about that child, who can do something about that person on your job. Your words are going to make it more and more difficult for you. Creates trouble for your soul even more. Let's watch our words, y'all. Until the next video, I'll probably have to come back with more of this because the Lord just won't let it up because it is so important. His word is what we need. His words is what we need to keep on our minds. Philippians 4:8, Philippians 4:6 and 7. We need to use our words carefully. Idle words, they're not productive and they're lazy. It's a lazy tongue. Be careful what you speak. Think before you speak, because what you're speaking, what you're thinking is going to eventually come out in actions. Listen, I love you and I'm just being obedient. This word is for me too. Again, check out the description box. It's loaded and it's got a couple of really good videos. I think that will really benefit you. All right, until the next video, I love you. You take care. Bye now.